Oh, you guys going in the hot tub this weekend? You, Rose, Sean, and Debbie? We got to videotape that.
Yeah, that could be a whole new episode.
My GoPros are waterproof. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast Classic. I'm Ralph Quattrucci.
I'm Sean Murphy.
I'm Deborah Murphy.
I'm John Quattrucci.
I'm Chris Coker.
And I am looking forward to seeing you all in person this weekend.
Where?
That is going to happen, but we don't
can't remember.
To,
I think it's a rerun, but I can't remember.
It's a sequel. The fourth, what do we call it? The fourth.
I think it's a reboot.
It's
I think it's more of a reboot.
Yeah,
we're retconning. We're retconning the situation. We're going to make it more. We're going to make it more woke than the last three. So we're going to be fine. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We'll see
Ralph.
you guys.
Hi, everyone. Great hats. Great hats.
They are very nice.
Yeah.
We're going to see you guys in a couple days. But
there he goes. Chris, take the hat off. Your hair looks the best it's looked in a long time. Keep the hat off. I love it. Look at him.
How's everybody this week?
Good, great.
Great.
How are you?
Wow.
You seem a little nervous.
On pins and needles. Very excited.
Tense.
Very excited. Seeing people in 3 dimensions, getting married for the 4th time, having a big, little party kind of thing. I don't know what the scissors are for, but yeah. So big week.
Well, yeah,
big
I know
week.
you're tying the knot, but if you need scissors.
No, I'm good. That knot is going to be solid.
Do you think you guys will have any kids?
I've gained 2 and she's gained 5. So that's what's going to happen.
Probably
Well, he was thinking about adopting a 17-year-old Swedish girl, but I don't know how that's going.
Maria's she frowned upon that one. I don't know why.
She wasn't crazy about that, but
I got a couple grandkids too. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's
you
big.
are like,
it's gonna be big.
This is.
Yeah.
This is.
Right, so we don't have to talk about this anymore. Let's talk about what we watched this week, and then we'll get into
Instant
the film.
Family. Love it.
John, let's go with you. Is that way you can stop talking?
Well, Ralph,
for
it's funny you should ask. I watched several things, and this is my tribute to Drew this week.
Thank you very much.
I finished watching The Offer, which is fantastic. I loved it, and it made me dig down the rabbit hole for Al Ruddy and Bob Evans. I just love this series. It was really, really well done, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I also watched 2 movies.
Well, wait, before you go further,
yes,
because that's what I was going to bring up. I'll talk about The Offer that way. I don't have to do it later.
Okay.
I love the last 3 episodes.
Yes.
And I am super in love with Bob Evans. Now, I understand that this is a portrayal of Bob Evans, and I'm sure they went over the top, but I don't really think they went that over the top. And the way this guy played him, and if that Bob Evans like that, that's a dude I would have wanted to hang out with.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get over how much fun he was and how great the guy playing.
I actually think he was the best one in it. I like Miles Teller, but he was the best one in
it. The guy playing Brando, I thought, did a nice job.
Yeah,
too.
but he's hardly in it. I mean,
I know, but still, he still carried the essence of Brando, and I thought it was good.
So did the guy playing Pacino. He had the whole tilt his head and kind of shy. It's just the whole thing, the period, the way they recreated the period, and it's funny because a lot of the iconic scenes they don't show you. They show them watching the scene being done. It's really interesting the way they do it.
But all the little snippets, they threw in the horse head decision, how they figured out the horse head. The fact that Brando uses cue cards. One of them was he had Robert Duvall had a cue card taped to his front of his thing. I loved all that inside baseball when it came to The Godfather, and I just thought it was super. But again, I walked away just madly in love with Bob Evans. I listened to his doc. I watched his doc, The Kid Stays in the Picture. And even then I was impressed, but this thing just put it over the top. That's all I wanted to say. I just thought the guy playing him was great.
So I recommend it.
And he was in The Boys this week.
He was?
Paul Reiser's character this week in The Boys basically is Robert Evans. It's pretty funny, actually.
That is, he's a Hollywood.
I've
only seen one episode. I'm waiting until they all drop.
Hey, I just want to say, so now that Godfather, the offer is done, Debbie and I can do like our 1-month sample subscription to Paramount Plus. Watch that, maybe a couple other shows. But first, we're jumping ahead. We started after the recommendation.
Wait. John wasn't done.
Yeah, John wasn't done.
No,
John
it's okay. It's Ralph's show. He can do whatever he wants. He wants to.
Let John finish since I jumped on John.
Well,
John, hold your thought.
You're letting John finish?
I did read that they're talking about maybe doing a sequel, and it would be interesting if they actually made the sequel The Longest Yard. because I didn't
That was
realize
fun.
the
Yeah, they
connection
brought that
between
in.
the two,
They
which
had
is
Burt
pretty
Reynolds
cool.
sitting
But
in
the
there.
other two things I watched, and I'll make this quick, and I know I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but I just rewatched The General again, Buster Keaton.
Yeah, that's just on TV.
I can't tell you how much I love that movie. It's just so good, and it every time I see it, I still have the same reaction to it. And the last thing I watched, so when I was a junior in high school, I had the lead in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Mm-hmm.
And I just watched the movie with Robert Morris in Rudy Valley. And I love the movie. It probably couldn't get made today because of the office dynamics that existed in the 60s that don't exist anymore.
It's a madman.
But it was very theatrical, as if the sets and everything, it wasn't done in a realistic way other than the outdoor location shooting that they did, but everything else, it was really stylized. But Robert Morris was really good in it. And it's funny, I look back, and I didn't see the movie before I did it because I didn't want to copy him. And I really wish I did see it because there was stuff he did that I really should have copied. But I just love that musical, and it's one of my favorites. And it was nice to see. I hadn't seen it in a long time. It was nice to see it again.
Robert Morris, I think he spent most of his Morris on Broadway because he should have done he could have done a lot more movies. I thought he was very talented.
Well, I don't even remember. Did he win the Academy Award for that? No,
I don't think. I'm not sure if he did.
I think he was nominated.
But it
was perfect. It was perfect in the role.
Mainly a stage actor,
right?
Musical theater actor,
right?
But I always found him very talented in anything I saw him in.
Awesome, John. Is that it, or
that's it, man? I get 3 things, Ralph. That's more than I usually do.
Right.
So.
Well, I was going to go to Sean, but maybe no. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, Debbie and I, we get all of our recommendations for what to watch from this podcast. And so we started watching The Boys season 1. We're 6 episodes in. And What a terrific show. It is really good. But, the fact that I know that there's 2 more seasons seems to indicate that they're not going to resolve the conflict in season 1.
Well, different conflicts, that's all.
Well, but I tell you what, I'm glad to see it keep going because I like the characters.
So we're 6 episodes in, and around the 5th episode, I said, I'm starting to think I'm going to get sick of it.
Why were you thinking of getting sick of it?
I usually, when there's a series, I usually start, if I'm going to get sick of it, I get a hint of it on the 5th show. And I got a little hint of it, but that's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
The series is terrific.
Yeah, because it goes off the rails. Here's a little something about The Boys. So the graphic novel, the main character played by Quaid, I can't remember the character's name. Huey. In the graphic novel, the artist based it on Simon Pegg. So he looked exactly like Simon Pegg. That's why Simon Pegg plays the father in this show because of that. He said he wanted to play Huey, but the guy said, no, you're too old for Huey. Yeah. So,
it's kind of sad because Debbie's like, oh, that's that guy from Shaun of the Dead. And I'm like, no, that's not him. And sure enough, it was.
Yeah.
He recognized him first. I'm like, he's getting too old.
Well, they aged him too for the show.
All
definitely.
Old.
Yeah, but I didn't want him to get old.
No,
him or Nick Frost.
Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah, Nick Frost, right?
Is that it? You guys have anything else? Or The Boys? The Boys?
We're just watching The Boys.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what? I was going to go and see Jurassic World Dominion. But after the review, the secondhand review, the backhanded secondhand review, I sort of sat that one.
It's getting mixed reviews. I mean,
it's getting mixed reviews, but it's making a boatload of money.
It's a spectacle. It's Jurassic Park.
It's crazy.
What are you going to do?
I don't know if I mentioned it on this show or not, but a guy that I know who has similar taste in movies like me, he walked out after an hour.
You mentioned that last week.
He hated it. He
at the cost of movies now, me walking out, it's not enough.
I've never walked out. I've wanted to walk out of movies, but I've never walked out. I just the principle of it. I can't even, if it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. But
I did walk out about 5 of them, and I'm going to do a blog. I remembered to list all the films like I walked out on. I think I'm going to do a blog about.
Has anyone else ever walked out of a movie?
I walked out of a free movie. I walked out of Midnight Express, and I didn't have to pay for it because that's when we were getting tickets from
Tom Morton.
Those guys.
Yeah.
I walked out of that one. I shouldn't have because it's great, but there was a particular scene. I was there with my girlfriend. It just didn't. It felt a little weird, but
wow.
I don't walk out of anything.
Film I have to put on the list.
Oh my gosh, we have a story, but we can never tell it. or else we'd have to kill y'all.
Okay,
But,
Chris.
Tell
okay,
me the story, Debbie.
No, I
Chris,
can't.
Chris was about to say something about walking out of a film.
Yeah, I want to know what movie it was.
No, it was literally like one of those things where I was in the mall and I was bored to death, and I went to see National Lampoon's Senior Trip. And I remember at one point looking at and part of it was this truthfully, I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, The Prophecy is about to start, which I had already seen. So I just got up and went to see The Prophecy again, which is a movie, which is a great little overachieving B film, you know?
Yeah.
That's with Christopher Walken, that one?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
And Elias Koteas. And
all right, since you're talking, Chris, what did you watch this week?
I started watching one thing, but I think I'll talk. I didn't finish the first episode, but I think I'll talk about that maybe after I watch a few. But I was doing some stuff, work stuff, basically mindless type stuff. So I put on in the background Judd Apatow's second series that failed after one season, Undeclared. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Undeclared. It is not as good as Freaks and Geeks, but man, it is criminally underseen. You can't even stream it anywhere.
Really?
It stars. I looked it up. I could not find it streaming anywhere. I have the DVDs, I watched the DVDs, and it's so good. It has. It's very Freaks and Geeks vibe-ish, but at the same time, it's set in modern day, which is now almost 20 years ago. But it stars. It's a classic. It's very similar to Freaks and Geeks in the sense that everyone who is in it went on to do a bunch of other stuff. Charlie Hunnam, the guy who was in Sons of Anarchy, that's where he got his first big break in America. Yep. And it's really great. And honestly, it's one of those shows where of all the movies and of all the TV shows about college, I feel like maybe this says something about me, my college experience was closer to that than any of the other shows and movies about college. It's just kind of a very realistic, hey, dudes hanging out in their dorms, drinking when they can, writing papers when they have to, you know what I mean? It felt like it's a very real look, at least in my opinion, look at college, but it's super funny. And if you can ever watch it, I highly recommend it.
Chris, do you have any theories? Because Freaks and Geeks and that show were really good shows, but they didn't land. Any theories why?
Honestly, I think what happens with a lot of times with shows like that, and this is maybe why Apatow has succeeded in films, but not in TV. I think you just have to have a huge, and this is of course all before streaming. If those shows came out as streaming shows, I think they would have found their audience.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
And made an impact. Yeah. But this was still the days of network TV where you needed to pump out 22 episodes a season. And both of them ended up in bad time slots. And, Undeclared was on Fox, and I just don't think it was really their type of show. Because it wasn't all about it had people who looked like real college students.
Right.
Married with children. The show would have been better, would have been more successful if it turned out that they were all in purgatory.
It's funny because I've heard of Freaks and Geeks. I haven't heard of Undeclared.
Undeclared, it's really good. I mean, there's no that's all I can say about it.
Do you think you can
do a full season?
I don't think so. I think there's only 18 episodes, so most of a season. Anyway, but it's got.
I agree with you. That is very real. It feels very real. The way being a freshman feels, the way that you meet all these people and they're all kind of different and interesting, but you don't know what you're dealing with. And what's the name of the RA? Is it Perry?
Lucian.
Lucian. That guy is a riot.
Oh yeah.
It's just real and funny. And you said Charlie Hunnam, Jay Baruchel, Carla Gallo, and I think Seth Rogen was one of the writers because he started writing on Freaks and Geeks and all this great stuff. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's in it too.
He's in it. It's one of the main characters. Yeah,
I haven't watched that in a long time.
Canopy doesn't have that either.
I don't know.
I put it into Comcast, and Comcast is actually pretty good. And maybe on some lesser known streaming service that Comcast has no.
It's not on Tubi.
No, it's not on Tubi. It's not on Zumo.
Let's start listing every streaming service we know. What about? Come on,
everybody. It's not on
Xmoo or
But I will say this: if you can track it down, it's totally worth it.
Well, if you give Ralph a copy of it, he can burn them. And
I don't do that. I don't know why you say that. I don't do that.
I mean, if hypothetically, if he were to get it,
I don't know why you even said that. Drew, what'd you watch?
So I'm still kind of coming back from the COVID exhaustion stuff. So I make some plans and then it's like, well, I was going to do 3 things today and I did 2 of them. And now I don't feel like doing anything. It's not like a depression. It's just really, really exhausting. And sometimes I don't really take a nap either. So I ended up watching a bunch of stuff this week. One thing I will say, I watched episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is supposed to be the episode that really turns everything around. That show it's so bad. It's so bad. I can't even believe how bad it is, how cheap it looks. It's terrible. And I'm definitely going to hate watch the last episode, which I guess comes out tomorrow.
Only 6 of them?
Yeah, it's a limited series. And
they're short episodes too.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely not close to an hour or anything.
Yeah.
It's just terrible
really
and sad.
Troubled.
It looks like a Smallville level production, like
which is hard to believe.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's got the Disney money, and I don't know if it's just.
I was watching the guys. Red Letter Media did a whole thing.
Did they?
Yeah, and they really were talking about how Hayden Christensen, I guess, is actually playing Darth Vader in the Darth Vader suit.
Yeah,
but he doesn't look anything like he's skinny, right? He's not as David Prowse was a big dude, right?
Yeah.
And they're staging the fight scenes so that you can't see a height difference between the 2 guys, and it's like everything's like weird, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's running away in the middle of a fight. They really were getting into the nitty gritty about why it's not working and how it's. And they mentioned definitely that it looks.
It's getting destroyed. I mean, it's getting killed out there.
I mean, I just
you can see why they don't have any more Star Wars stuff scheduled for the theater.
Somebody who did I read is taking over?
Taika Waititi is making
He's going to do one. But there was someone else, someone who loved Star Wars. But you know what? That was the problem. Like J.J. Abrams didn't like Star Wars. So, he didn't like Star Trek.
Well, what these guys said, which I found interesting, is said all these people grew up watching Star Wars. And if you flash forwarded however many years it's been and said they were going to dread watching a Star Wars thing as they're adults, that really kind of said what's going on. Like they've just diluted the whole situation.
Well, it's been going on since the last 3 movies that
but I just love that thought of if you flash forward and you go, I'm going to dread watching this stuff. It was just an interesting take on what's been happening with all this stuff. And Jurassic Park's doing the same thing.
A glimmer of hope.
Jurassic Park, these guys, the other guys I listened to, that Eye of the Duck, they're doing a whole summer series on all the Jurassic Park episodes. The first 3, and then these, I think it's last 4 now. Is it 4?
It's 3, I think.
3 of the new.
There's 2 trilogies, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, they're really breaking it down, and it's a lot of fun. Oh, I'm sorry, Drew. Go ahead.
That's all right. I want to make sure that you guys know how bad that show is. It's really, really bad.
You really make me want to see it now.
Oh, it's so bad. I mean, and you know what really is disappointing? Ewan McGregor is not bad.
Right.
Like he's doing the same thing. He was maybe the best performance in the stupid movies that they did.
I agree with that.
And so he's doing the same thing, and it's just terrible. So then I said, well, I've been watching some of the January 6th hearings and some of this new video of all the crazy stuff that happened that day, and like literally Nazis and stuff going and into the Capitol and all this stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna watch a Nazi double feature. So I watched a movie that I hadn't seen before. It's been on my list for a while, and that was called Iron Sky. It's about 10 years old. It's basically, it's your classic story where the Nazis, they were defeated on Earth. So they've been in a secret base on the moon planning for decades an invasion to come back. Yeah, the usual stuff. It's really fun. You won't confuse it with great filmmaking, but it's shockingly well produced for what can clearly only be a very low budget, and it's trash, and it's very well done, and it's fun. And then I said, well, I'm going to finish up my weekend. I had the day off yesterday for Juneteenth, so that was nice. So I watched a movie that I haven't watched in a long time, that I've actually heard about on a bunch of podcasts, including Eye of the Duck. I sat down and I watched, and I again loved Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's just one of those perfect movies, just all cylinders, the whole movie. I don't want to get into a whole, is it better than Raiders? Is it worse than Raiders? Because I mean, the two of them just work They just work so well. And
It helped
it's one of
having
those
Sean
movies where
Connery.
I know every line and I know the intonation of it and I know everything, and I don't mind. Like I don't mind like reveling in it again. And it's very moving, and seeing the night at the end, Robert Edison's performance, the way he waves goodbye, like the whole thing was really just beautiful. And that feels like one of those, they don't make them like that anymore. I hope that's not true, but it's really good. So that was one worth revisiting. Some movies, you're afraid to go back and watch that one.
And their chemistry was great. I mean, Connery
Sean
Harrison
Connery
Ford
is
was great.
it's just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So that was what I watched this week that I'm talking about. There's plenty more if John wants to do an extra
what's the
episode
winter?
afterwards.
There's a zombie Nazi film.
Oh, well, you're talking about Dead Snow.
Dead Snow.
So Dead Snow
It's so good.
is the first movie where they find the Nazi zombies, and it's not awful, but it's not good. It's very slow.
Yeah, but
and then for some reason they made Dead Snow 2, which is awesome.
Yeah,
like really
Nazi
awesome.
Zombies. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I know, right? Well, the Dead Snow 2, they're like, well, you already know these characters, you already know our heroes and who got their dismembered and stuff. Now they're gonna fight the Nazi zombies, and it's awesome. So bloody, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. One thing I'm gonna remind everybody: Hassan and Uncle Al are gonna be here Saturday as well. So we're gonna almost have the full.
Do we have to call him Uncle Al? Can we?
I think we can use his real name at the party.
All right. I'm not sure how that works. When you're in witness relocation, you got to be careful.
Let's get to our film. It's Chris's film, and noticing the background, what is that background?
That is the modern cityscape of Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is our film? We know what the film is, but why don't you talk about the film?
Yeah. The film is Wong Kar-Wai's 1994 film called Chungking Express.
On the streets of Hong Kong, a mysterious woman, a young cop, and an innocent dreamer are about to meet, where mystery and romance collide. Miramax Films and Rolling Thunder Pictures present Wong Kar-Wai's Chungking Express. Time magazine calls it a delicious romance. A knockout, terrifically stylish, raves the Los Angeles Times. And LA Weekly calls it a genuine wonder, intoxicating from first frame to last. Chungking Express, a film by Wong Kar-Wai.
Chungking Express, put very simply, is a story about two lovesick policemen in Hong Kong Island. And now this is pre-handover Hong Kong. And if you're a big fan of Asian cinema like I am, you can tell the difference to a certain extent, especially more modern Hong Kong films. And when I mean like since 2010. But basically, this is believe it or not, this was a film that was brought here to the United States in a wider release by Quentin Tarantino. Mm-hmm. Back, if you guys remember, when right after Pulp Fiction and He Could Do No Wrong, he actually had a small distribution company called Rolling Thunder Pictures, named after the William Devane and I'm blanking. The guy they go down to and. The guys that go down to Mexico, William Devane gets his hand stuck in a thing. Anyway, the point is he has a hook.
Is Rita Hayworth in there?
No,
it was Susan Hayward.
Anyway, so he brings over his whole idea behind Rolling Thunder Pictures was to bring over foreign films and some exploitation films and stuff like that. I don't know how many films they actually distributed. I know they did Switchblade Sisters, but this is the one that, you know what, whether he did anything else, it was worth the effort just to bring this movie over to a wider audience. This is a film that is gorgeous. It's full of energy and it's got tons of style, but it also has lots of substance, in my opinion. I mean, sometimes we joke on this podcast about films that speak to the human condition without sounding too pretentious. This movie really does. Like, it's got a lot of real honest emotion, and honest heart all the way through it. And I love every minute of it.
I don't know if I'd use the word honest, but okay, go ahead. Keep
okay.
going.
But the interesting thing about it was Wong Kar-Wai had done a couple of films, smaller films. They're both great. One is called As Tears Go By. And the other one is, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on all the names.
Isn't it Days
of Being Wild?
Days of Being Wild. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. Okay. Yes. So he started making a big wushu, kung fu sword fighting epic called Ashes of Time. And he'd been shooting it for literally over a year. And then he started editing it to the point where he just got bogged down in it. So he literally shut everything down and shot this movie in like 30 days. It's almost like a fun palate cleanser kind of thing. Apparently he was writing the story during the day and then shooting at night, because you'll notice pretty much everything, at least in the first story, takes place at night. Anyway, so like I said, it's basically about these two policemen, and the only real part where their stories intersect, they intersect slightly, is they really intersect around this place called the Midnight Express, which is basically a late night food stall, And so people come and people go, and it's just got this great energy about it. And some of the cinematography is amazing. Like in this, he does this weird, Christopher Doyle, who was the DP on this, does a kind of a weird kind of slow motion, like blur. So on the one hand, everything seems to be in slow motion, but at the same time, it seems amazingly frenetic.
And that was on every
that 6 frames.
Yeah, that effect was on every Sony DV camera that came out in the That's the 15 frame DV effect that Sony puts on every one of their cameras. But but
he uses it to great effect.
He starts the film with it, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He starts the film. So basically it starts, and there's this one policeman who's actually Japanese, interestingly enough. And he's trying to get over his ex-girlfriend who dumped him. And he's decided to give it a month. Her name is May. He's decided to give it a month, and it has she loved pineapple. Anyway, before I get into all the little bits of it, I'm going to stop now and I want to know, first off, if you hadn't seen it before, what you thought about it, and just shoot. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks about it. I obviously think it's fantastic. It's literally probably in my top 25 of all time.
Well, I have a question for you. If you can keep on continuing on to tell us more about it, because somewhere along the line, I lost the thread. I think the problem with when I was watching it, I got confused. There were 2 police officers and they look so similar.
One was Japanese.
And they had different numbers on their shoulder.
Yeah, one was 633.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna agree with Debbie that when you first jump into this thing, it's a little disconcerting because you're watching this. I guess she's the Greta Garbo of Hong Kong, the woman playing the woman with the blonde wig and the raincoat.
The sunglasses.
And you're kind of figuring out that she's setting up a drug deal. She's got I think they're Indian. I don't know who the geography of the thing was. I guess you have to know that that's actually how it was in Hong Kong. It was that crowded and people were that packed in and stuff like that. So you're watching this drug thing seem to happen. And then that scene where she intersects and he says, I'm going to fall in love with her in 48 hours or 87 hours. I forget what he said.
57, but yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of, and she's shooting people in that part of the story. She's shooting, but man, I'm glad I stuck with it because I just found it, I watched it twice. I just couldn't believe why I was falling into this thing, because the Hong Kong films, they're either really goofy comedy or they're John Woo style. I mean, that's what Quentin Tarantino, I went and saw a video where he was talking about why he decided to do this. It's very Godard, they shot like they shot Breathless and all this stuff. So you got that. But John Woo has a certain style. This one, part of it is the woman who played the waitress, who was a Madonna rock star or something of Hong Kong.
Faye Wong.
What's it? Faye Wong. I just fell in love with. And it just, and as cheesy as it is, and I don't know if it's the translations that turn it into cheese, because a lot of times they're translating and it sounds kind of staged and goofy, but the show had, they're earnest about their feelings that they're trying to express in these films. And I just, at first I was like, what's going on? And then I'm glad I stuck with it because, oh my God, it's just beautiful.
So what happened? What happened in this movie?
It's about two, like he said, two cops who are both got broken. They both broke up with their girlfriends, or the girlfriends get dumped.
The girl with the short haircut, she was the popular Madonna type.
Yeah, she was the waitress.
This was actually Faye Wong. This was her first acting gig ever. She was actually a very popular pop star in Hong Kong. And so she was in the film, and, you know, she won some Hong Kong film awards and things like that. And she just kind of has an exuberance that it's hard not to like really just be drawn in by.
This isn't one of the songs they use. It's a remake of a popular song, but she did it, right?
Dreams,
Cranberries. She sings. It's Dreams by the Cranberries. Yeah. She's actually the one who sings it. So I mean, personally, I love that part too, because being a big fan of the Cranberries myself, and kind of being in my 20s when the Cranberries were huge, and being a big fan of the Cranberries, like, it's this great moment because it's like, the song, the lyrics, but it's in a different language, right? So it kind of has this wonderful similarity, but yet foreignness to it.
The audacity of the guy to play California Dreamin' 9 times in the film. I mean, that's the other thing.
Was it only 9 times?
I think it was 9, maybe a little more. I don't know. But the audacity to do that, you put that in somebody else's hands, and it's like, what is going on? And for some reason, and it has to do with her. Because every time she turned that on, she starts dancing and doing the thing because she doesn't want to think or whatever. And then the other woman,
California Dreaming, than I heard of That Thing You Do in.
Well, yeah, exactly. You think about how many times that was played. I think I got sick of this less than That Thing You Do. I also love California Dreaming. I love
that song. So I'm glad
that doesn't hurt it. Song. But the other woman was what's her name? I wrote it down. Brigitte Lin. Who is the Greta Garbo, I think, of Hong Kong, and this was her last film. She quit after this one.
Yeah, she got married.
I guess she's famous for playing a woman who's playing a man as a god in Hong Kong. She became an icon of kind of playing men, and she was fantastic. And that getup that he put her in was a tribute to Gloria, to Gina Rowlands, the Cassavetes film called Gloria. I think it's Cassavetes directed that one.
Yeah.
So I just, all that stuff, because you start reading after I literally watched it twice, because I was like, the first time, Bebby, you're right, it's like kind of confusing, but then you let it wash over. I let it wash over me, and I'm like, oh, I'm totally in, especially when they get to the second where she's doing the thing anyway, I don't want to get to, but she's the apartment where she's cleaning his apartment when he's not there, and it's just, and I got it at the end, that last shot where he says to her, take me wherever you want to go. I got chills. Because fantastic. They cut to the credits and you're hearing Dreams. I think at that point they cut over, and it's just gave me chills. And I looked up the woman, and I wanted to see, Wong. I wanted to see her stuff, what she was doing. I just thought it was fantastic. That's my 2 cents. John, Drew, anybody? John?
No
general.
In general. This definitely was not my cup of tea.
That's a shock.
I was lost.
Push me over with a feather.
Like I know why she wore the wig and the trench coat, and it wasn't. Yes, they went for the Gina Rowland look, but she was filming a movie at the same time, and they didn't want to have to redo her makeup, so they stuck her in the wig and the glasses. Brilliant. The problem I had with it was there was no payoff to that. You could tell she was wearing a wig, so I thought there was going to be a payoff to that. Like that whole storyline. Just kind of ended, and it went nowhere. And like she killed that one guy in the bar who looked like an American, and I wasn't even sure who that was.
I think he was the drug.
Well, you think? I mean, I didn't know, no, so that added to my confusion. Yeah, and then we went to. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, he was the guy that double crossed her.
Right.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, but I didn't get it from my watching. Maybe if I watch it again, I'd pick it up.
Yeah, because there's actually a scene where, and don't get me wrong, it's not super glaring. It's like you're kind of seeing halfway through the, back into the back room of the bar, and he's actually talking to a couple of the mules that disappeared on her, right? And so she's obviously trying to figure all of this out.
Right.
Where they've disappeared to. I mean, she kidnaps that guy's little girl.
Right. And give her ice cream. Gave her ice cream.
Yeah. Right. But like she does all this stuff because, he's given her that tin that says May 1st. And it's kind of, and it mirrors the fact that you've got, the other detective who's like, May 1st, I'm gonna get, I'm done with it on May 1st. I'm gonna give it a month. And I really found that part engaging because it's like, sometimes when you're in the middle of a breakup or you're no longer seeing somebody and you're not sure how you're supposed to feel, you come up with these arbitrary rules. You'll say, okay, I'm not going to do this, or I am going to do that. And if it gets to this point, I'm done. Right. So like, I found all of that to just be unbelievably real, in my opinion. It struck me as something that someone would do, I mean, not necessarily eating 30 cans of pineapple, but
expired pineapples.
But I could see people, but they're not quite
Probably
expired.
still-
Well, no, the day of.
Yeah, the day of,
When I saw the pineapple eating, was
Well, this is what I mean. Chris is like not pretending, but Chris is explaining that this is what normal people do, and this is like what you do when there's a breakup. But this is like it's like a fairy tale. These people aren't acting like real people in a breakup.
I disagree. I do. Let me put it this way. I know we've talked about Wim Wenders on this before, Wings of Desire, right? Mm-hmm. He made a film called Until the End of the World, right? And I saw it many years ago. And I'll be honest with you, I always watched that film whenever I broke up with a girl. I don't know why. It just made me feel better. Like,
well, that says something about you. I mean, that's good. I mean,
but
that's
I don't
okay.
eat 30. My point is I'm not eating 30 cans of pineapple, but I am watching, at least the version I had.
Well, but then he kept asking the woman, "Do you like pineapple? Do you like pineapple? This is what I mean about
trying
goofy,
to break the ice."
Yeah, he's trying to break the ice.
Goofy Hong Kong films. Go ahead, John. Continue.
Well, if I could just continue for a moment.
Sorry.
I said, John, continue.
No, it's okay. It's your movie. You should be able to do what you want. I just thought like when the second part of the movie or the second story was going on, I kept going, okay, when are they going back to the first story so I can figure out what happened to this guy? So his big love thing, I'm going to be in love with her in 57 hours, was watching her sleep in a hotel. That was how he fell in love. And then you never saw that again. And then it wasn't like last week's movie that I hated. Okay. I hated that movie. I didn't hate this movie. I appreciated the acting. I appreciated the stylization of it, but it did not. So I was working out when I watched this, and usually when I'm on the
Were you jogging?
When I'm on a treadmill watching a movie and it's a movie I'm engaged in, the workout goes by like that. You don't even realize you're working out. Mm-hmm. This was kind of a grind watching this movie. I kept thinking to myself as I'm watching it, where is this going? I just don't see where it's going. And I kept waiting for something, maybe back to the other story. And then, she's in the house and she's stalking him basically. And they keep kind of missing each other. It just didn't really hold me because I found it a little bit confusing. I get the whole themes of breaking up and finding someone special. I got that, but it just, I don't know. It just didn't work. It didn't keep me engaged in the film like I'm hearing you guys. I mean, I certainly appreciate how you guys feel about the movie. I just did not feel that way. It was just too confusing for me. And if I'm watching a movie, picking apart the logistics and stuff, that's not what you want in a movie like this. You want to just enjoy it for what it is. And I couldn't do that. So and I didn't hate it. So
it's fine with me.
That's it for me.
Can I just say something about if that's the case, if it was people missing each other in a relationship, would you say, Chris, that was it?
Well, I mean, I think it had more to do with the idea of, things ending, I mean, he even talks about it. I mean, he talks about in the narration, he says, everything has an expiration date, friendship, love, it all has an expiration date. And I think what it really comes to in the film and what they're trying to get across there is that, like, these are two guys that have, they're on their way back, and yes, in the first story, he doesn't meet anybody new, but he kind of comes to this peaceful place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He stopped obsessing about May. I mean, he was obsessing about that other woman.
On his 25th birthday, he gets that message. And I love the whole beeper. Like, what a throwback, right? The beepers and the answering services and everything.
And when he walked away from it and started beeping, he comes running back
to it. And but when he listens to it, it's, your friend from room, whatever it was, 702 or whatever, says happy birthday. Right. And it was like just that little bit of validation from somebody that he was mystified with or in love with for a few hours was enough to set him right and to set him back on going back to who he was. Do you know what I mean? And I love that. Sometimes it's just a little nudge in the right direction, just the smallest bit of positive reinforcement can really just buoy your spirits and set you back. You know, I mean, I look at this film where it's got a lot of like, especially in the second half, the second story, there was a lot of those like romantic comedy type. Oh, I'm not going to go so far as to say tropes, but they're kind of missing one another, and there's all this back and forth, and there's, missed connections, whatever.
Yeah, going in one door, out the other door, the whole French farce where you go in one door, out the other door. Yeah. I mean, he was, like you said, he was trying to have fun. He was doing this to clear his head from the other one. They're like, let's try this, let's try that. And I think they were literally writing it on the set. You said he was doing it at night and then coming in, but they were changing stuff on the set. But
yeah, so when she was in the apartment that he was in, she was hiding from him in the apartment. Did that really happen, or was that his imagination that was happening?
No, that was happening.
I think it totally happened. I mean, eventually he catches her there.
She was hiding in the closet.
I mean, eventually
that was so crazy. Now, did they get together then?
Well, we don't know.
Maybe.
At the end, it seemed positive. It seemed like they were.
I like that the cop never noticed that there was twice the goldfish he had in his tank.
Right?
Yeah,
he never noticed
that.
She put a spell on him. Drew, jump in.
Well, I mean, I saw this movie, I guess in college. I'm like you, Chris. I love Hong Kong films of this era. I love a lot of movies of China in general, and this is 3 years before the handover, so it's fraught with something that we don't feel today. But I think it really captures the intersection of Hong Kong as far as the intersection of cultures and languages, and not in a glamorous way. I mean, the drug mules are from this country, and this person's from America, and that person's from some other part of China. And I think part of it also is the languages. That scene where Takeshi Kaneshiro's cop is trying to get Brigitte Lin's rain-coated drug dealer murderer lady's attention at the bar. He talks to her in, I think it's Cantonese, Japanese, English, and Mandarin, and she doesn't respond until he says Mandarin. And it's funny because in America basically we have one language, and sometimes people also have Spanish, but I mean there is no language that's Chinese. There's so many different dialects and different things, and to have that just be part of how they talk to each other is really, it's kind of neat. And also that I don't know about not telling them apart, but you have to remember another thing that you don't pick up in this if you don't know the movies and the world of it. Like, these people are big movie stars, either already or about to be. I mean, Brigitte Lin is in one of my favorite movies of all of the wuxia crazy martial arts movies, Bride with White Hair, which is just epic insanity. I don't even know what you'd call it, fantasy period action. It's just great. And then Takeshi Kaneshiro is still making movies. It's funny because the guy that's really to me, I mean, I just love him in everything, is Tony Leung, who plays the second cop. And he's a guy, he's in early John Woo movies. He's in Hard Boiled and Bullet in the Head and stuff. And he's in early Wong Kar-Wai movies. And he's still working today. He was just in the Marvel movie. I mean, these are people that are gigantic movie stars, and Tony Leung is especially just an amazing actor because he can do so many different things. And I may have mentioned before, I was at the Cannes Film Festival 25 years ago, and I saw Happy Together. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I did not meet Wong Kar-Wai. If I wanted to meet anybody, I wanted to meet Tony Leung because I just loved Hard Boiled. But Wong Kar-Wai won Best Director for Happy Together, which is a similar vibe as far as the way it looks and feels about two gay men in Beijing, and that's not a good place to be gay, and so that it deals with that, but it's still very human and very personal. And I like that the movie feels the way it feels. Because I agree with you also, Chris. I think it does feel real. Like, these are like clearly guys in their 20s. These are clearly guys who are still like, they have a fantasy of relationships and loves, and it's very juvenile, but the movie doesn't insult them for it. The movie kind of goes on the ride. And I think not only did he write the script on the fly, I think they improv'd a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that not like in front of the camera at first. I think he worked with the cast and they improv'd out the story. And Mike Lee does that, and other people do that, and that can make some really amazing stuff. One thing I had forgotten: there's actually 2 cinematographers in this movie. Andrew Lau, who's a very accomplished cinematographer, he shot the first half. Which looks like a Wong Kar-Wai movie. It has that step printing slow-mo, which I hate that, but that's called the Wong Kar-Wai effect, and I know why he uses it and the effect that it gives. It makes sense. But Christopher Doyle shot the second one, and Christopher Doyle shoots just the most incredibly gorgeous movies. My favorite Wong Kar-Wai is In the Mood for Love, which I think you would actually like a lot better, John. That movie is just sumptuous. And another movie that I love it, even though it's politically really very pro dictatorship and Chinese government and stuff, is called Hero with Jet Li and Tony Leung, and other familiar faces are in it. And Christopher Doyle shot it. That is still one of the most gorgeous movies I've ever seen in the theater.
Well, this one
I think this movie is important for what it is, but also how it kind of what it led to.
Well, you're talking about the second cinematographer. This is a claustrophobic movie. I mean, you're in small spaces.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I think that's cool. I think that captures
that's Hong Kong.
But the shots he picks up in this claustrophobic setting were amazing. And I'm talking about rack focus and silhouetted shots in spaces that I don't know how he did it.
Wasn't the apartment the cinematographer's apartment? The one they actually used, right?
It may have been.
His apartment.
And that was a
they
small,
flooded
but even
the downstairs. They flooded the other apartments.
That area where the running, I don't know if it's not an escalator, but the
moving sidewalk.
The moving sidewalk is outside his apartment, and the shooting through glass and rain was just gorgeous. I can't imagine this is a 4K version of this. Must look phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's what's on HBO.
I watched the Laserdisc, and the Laserdisc looked great on this one too.
Yeah, at the end of the HBO Max file, it actually says this is the 4K version supervised by the director, which I didn't know that until I got to the end of it. So that's about as pretty as it's going to look, short of watching it on a 4K Blu-ray. So
I mean, you guys, you're saying it's reality, 25-year-olds, but these guys are talking. It's the soap is losing weight. That's how he figures out someone's in the house, because the soap was gaining weight, and the idea that the one guy jogs so that he can get all the water out of him, so he has no more tears. I mean,
it's silly.
It's silly, but I'm saying that's not. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but to me, it's not real. But that's okay, because the whole movie takes on this kind of
ethereal quality.
It's something where it's that woman's playing a pixie. Basically, she's sort of like bouncing in and out of every scene.
You gotta wonder.
She's magical. She's magical. I mean,
she's a pixie girlfriend.
It's like the education level of the people. I mean, here's the thing about the objection I have about this film. It was just thrown together. Now that I see that it was thrown, there's no structure. The movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end. This has no.
This has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then a beginning, a middle, and an end.
It's got two.
Got two of each. It's better.
I don't agree with that, but I understand why you might think that. Well, but Pulp Fiction was sort of. I
haven't had a chance to talk. Let me just say,
oof.
When I think about this film.
Uh-oh.
What, did I cut you off, baby?
No.
Well, let me.
Sean, do you have anything to say?
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Drew.
Of course.
I didn't know. I wasn't expecting this movie.
Had you never seen? Just real quick, had you never seen it, Sean?
No, I have not seen this film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pretty much every Hong Kong or Chinese film I've seen has people flying through the air with 245, shooting at each other or kicking each other.
Okay.
So this was, and also, and you said it was about 2 cops. So I expected 4, 44 automatics. One person diving this direction, firing both of them, and the other one diving in the other direction. And also, and when you said don't watch the trailer because it gives away too much, and I'm like, as I'm watching this film, I'm like, what could it give away?
It honestly, the trailer gives away the part where the one of 2 violent acts, the part where Brigitte Lin shoots the guy who double crossed her.
Is that in the trailer? That's silly.
I'm pretty sure
that
it is.
gives the movie a different.
Well, we did watch the trailer. I don't know why you guys are reacting that way.
Well, I just want to say that the first part there were aspects I like. I've been crazy, stupid in love. I always am stupid in love. And so I could see this whole pineapple thing. I could see that, but that first relationship didn't seem to go anywhere. But the second one, I just, thought she was great, and I love that Mamas and Papas song. And I'm glad I do, because otherwise I would have, had to turn the movie off.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because you hear it a lot. But I thought she was very charismatic.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious that this guy, she's doing all this stuff. And he's a police officer and he can't figure out any of the stuff she's doing.
Well, I think he was so distraught over his breakup.
I know I'm saying it's not realistic.
I think that's right, John.
I know I'm questioning that, Chris saying it's realistic, but you just got to let yourself go and forget that they're detectives. They're just guys who are broken up. They're freaking out. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you're going to miss extra goldfish. You're going to wonder why.
Or a new coffee cup in the bathroom that you drink every morning.
I think it's emotionally realistic. That's the thing. It's emotionally realistic.
He's so distraught about everything. He's not noticing anything.
Right.
And let's take a minute to say that, the flight attendant that he was with, I mean, I'd be pretty emotionally distraught if she just up and left me too.
She was a very good-looking woman.
Was she the same one at the end that he bumps into the store and she leaves with the guy on the motorcycle?
Yeah, with her new honking boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I do love that part where she's like, "You look better in uniform." And he was like, "You too."
So do you.
I like that she leaves and says, "You pay for my stuff."
Yeah.
Yes.
That seemed really realistic.
They mirror that at the end where he says, "You look great in your uniform," because his girlfriend,
she took the flight attendant uniform.
And she goes, "You look great in your," he did. He looked very charming when he ended up buying that little food thing. I fell in love with him and her. I thought because at first I'm like, this is goofy. The soap is getting fat. And why is he talking about wringing towels out with tears? Both those guys were saying these maudlin things about.
Yeah, they're 20-something romantics.
Yeah, but I guess I don't think guys 25 are romantic. But this is a Hong Kong film. I think Hong Kong films express this much easier than we would in
They're a little more exaggerated.
You'd never see this in an American film like that. The guys would be doing like John Cusack would travel across the country for the sure thing. That's the kind of things that guys in America do. It's American films. These guys are they're heartfelt and
don't say anything. John Cusack was directing that movie.
I think either of those cops would have been better if they got a boom box and held out in your eyes.
Come on.
No, but he did have this. The first guy, like Chris was saying, she called him and said, "Happy birthday." He got what he needed from her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the end of that section. I thought the end was her shooting the guy, but it was actually him getting that call from her. I think. I forget when it. I saw it twice. I can't.
The shooting, or at least, actually, I just watched it again and I can't remember.
Right, but I mean, there are two distinct things that happen. She ended her problem with that guy, and then she helped his situation so he could move on and end up with somebody he wants to be with. So, but
I kind of like the fact that, once again, it basically gives, what's kind of cool about it is that it is two separate stories. And you know what, John, you're right. You're kind of expecting, so when's the other detective going to show up again? Yeah. And, because I don't know about you, but I just found that guy super cool. I would love to be that guy.
The first guy?
The first guy.
Oh no,
he's the Johnny Depp of Asia. Yeah.
No, I thought the second guy was the cool guy.
I was really hoping he was going to end up with the drug dealing murderer. I was hoping that he was going to end up with it.
But that's the thing. It's what I liked about it was it takes the element of you have two kinds of romantic films. One where the person ends up okay, maybe looking at life anew, whatever. And then one where they end up with somebody. And it kind of gives you both of those endings,
Well, we're not sure that he's with the last one.
We're not, but we,
I just assume, but we're not. They didn't wrap that. If that were an American film, they would have wrapped that up. That would have been.
Yes, they would have. But
this one didn't. But it's still, you felt they were.
Say Anything ended with us waiting for the seatbelt light to come on. I mean, This is a movie.
Yeah, but they were together.
These
But they
guys
were together.
believe, right? But they believe in love that they think will, if they find the right person, it will last forever. And that's in a lot of Wong Kar-Wai's films. That's what drives In the Mood for Love, is the betrayal of that. And so they are just young romantic guys who are looking for love. And being a police officer is probably not a job where you're constantly awash in wonderful romantic loving experiences. So they hang a lot on that. I mean, they seem, everybody making the movies just, they're so young, and it's kind of sweet. I definitely prefer some of his other movies, but you can see the root of all of it in there. It's
also the cliche of the pix. What do you call that? The pixie woman. There's
pixie.
I don't think she's a manic pixie dream girl, because she's totally incompetent. I mean, the poor Piggy Chan, he can't get anybody reliable to work in his food
That's
shop.
the other thing. The people around her, the actors, or I don't even know if they were actors. Those other people that were around her that worked with her were a riot. That whole crew was just.
I really like the old guy that ran the place.
Yeah, that's Piggy Chan. He's great.
The boss.
The one thing I thought about the different cultures in the United States, usually if you're going to break up with somebody, it's clear cut. You don't just walk out.
That's not true.
That sounds clear cut to me.
Yeah.
People ghost people all the time.
I mean, you think about it.
You send them a text, and that's
even that is like bad form. But you say the same thing. It's not you. It's not anything about you.
That's what they always tell me.
It's me.
Not you. It's me.
I have a problem. I can't. Our relationship. Sorry, it's just not working out because of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're going to use really it's not me. It's you. It's not you. It's me.
That's how it's done.
It is you. You're damn right. It's me.
Yeah, I guess it's polite of you to do that, but a lot of people don't have the courage to express themselves emotionally, and a lot of people avoid confrontations and things like that. So that's why some people just, like Ralph. So some people just vanish. And that's what they do. And so,
or they take a restraining out order on you.
They could. Yeah. I mean, if you're especially the first couple, if you're in love with somebody who's gone, she's not coming back, buddy. I'm sorry, but I get that he longs for her to come back, because he's not really longing for her at that point. He's longing for love.
Right. And he was calling a bunch of he wants to talk to the father, then he wants to talk to the wife. And is your sister there? I want to talk to the sister, and I'm going to call this woman.
I'm not calling her.
No, I was charmed by the whole thing. So
it took me a long time to get into the movie.
I'm still trying.
Well, Ralph, if you want, there was supposed to be 3 stories, and it was too much. So you can watch Fallen Angels.
I heard about Fallen Angels.
Sort of a sequel, sidequel, but it's basically a similar vibe of people in Hong Kong. And if you like Chungking Express, definitely worth your time. But if you haven't seen anything In the Mood for Love, oh my God.
Yes.
Is that on HBO?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Most of his stuff is on there, I think.
In the Mood for Love.
I would say that if I had to, let me put it this way. In the Mood for Love, I think maybe his best film. Won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, the whole 9 yards. This is my favorite of his, but even though I would say that's a better movie, if you take my meaning.
I get that, sure.
Yeah. Sure. And I will say this about Fallen Angels, just a little note about that one. You might like that, Sean, too, because there is some double gun. One of the main stories is about an assassin. In fact, the main through story is about an assassin with a side story with a crazy guy.
Sean, you just didn't like her little gun she used? Is that it? You needed to see a couple 45?
I just needed to see a bigger gun.
Okay. Wow.
Sean, such a size queen.
All right, let's rate this one. Chris, great. I think great film. I'm just going to say it, but let's get the
You're giving it the Yippee-Ki-Yay, Ralph?
Oh, double Yippee-Ki-Yay. Okay. I watched it twice. I'm in love with that woman. I actually downloaded the Dream song. I think that sounds better than the Cranberries. I mean, I know that's sacrilege, but I just thought it was
come on, man.
I know, but I'm just saying, coming off this movie, I was pretty hyped up about it. So
yeah, me too. I have it as well.
Double Yippee-Ki-Yay. Sean, Debbie.
Well, Debbie first.
Well, I'm going to take a Yippee-Ki-Yay rain check, because I will.
You're abstaining?
That's a new one.
I promise to watch it again, because I didn't get it. And now that I have a little understanding, so, I'm going to try it again at a later date. In the future.
That's a good way to wiggle out of the rating. I like that. That's good.
Well, I don't think
she's not saying, she's not wiggling.
No, I'm agreeing.
I don't
I'm not
think I
disagreeing.
could judge it fairly, because I I didn't understand it.
Well, I mean, people keep saying they want to do a live show at Ralph's Barbecue. We could do another show on Chungking Express after you get a chance to watch it. I think.
No, I don't suggest we do that. Okay.
No, you haven't suggested
Think in the
it.
future, way in the future, like like after the summer's gone.
Jesus. Sean?
I liked it. It took me a long time to like it. It was really, I didn't really like it till the second story. And I was like, you could get rid of the entire first story and just tell the second one. And it was, I liked it. I really liked the girl. I thought she was a true pixie girlfriend, even though she wasn't technically his girlfriend. And
we like to Ray with the Yippee-Ki-Yay.
That love had made him so clueless. You know what I mean? He's so obsessed that losing the girl that he can't even recognize the crazy things this other woman is doing. And for a while, I thought he was just kidding. I thought his character knew what was happening and was just ignoring it until he does that.
It's that one scene where he's in front of the closet and he says, I know you're in here.
Because you're
going to come out of here. I don't know. Was he talking about her or his old girlfriend?
I think he was talking about his old girlfriend.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. When he opens the door, when she opens the door and he's there, it's like he's generally surprised. And I'm like, oh, so he is just really this clueless that he doesn't realize all this stuff.
Right. He's broken up with somebody.
So, this is not most of the films I would recommend to anybody. And I don't know if I'd recommend this film to everybody, but I enjoyed watching it. And I look forward to watching it again with Debbie.
All right, but you want now again Yippee-Ki-Yay rating? What? Because you said you like it.
I'm going to say Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Yay! Oh, wow. Now, but this one you wouldn't recommend everybody. But My Name Is Nobody, everybody worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trinity. My name is Trinity. They call me Trinity. Maybe not so much. Well, My Name Is Nobody. Yes.
I just want to get the rating set there. Okay, John.
I'll give it a Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Meh. Okay, Drew.
It's a Yippee-Ki-Yay for me. It's funny. I haven't watched any of his movies in a long time. Like I saw 2046 and some of the other stuff, but it reminded me. I just pulled it up on IMDb to see. It's from 2007. He did a movie in English called My Blueberry Nights. With Natalie Portman and Jude Law and a bunch of other people, and I just never got around to seeing it. So that kind of with a Ry Cooder soundtrack, it's very
that's worth
22nd, yeah. So it's supposed to be at least a good movie. I don't really know much about it, but thank you for reminding me that's one that slipped by. But yeah, Yippee-Ki-Yay for sure. It's a really important, good movie, but it's definitely its own thing and not for everybody, and that's okay too.
I've seen Blueberry Nights, and it's one of those things where it's like I enjoyed Blueberry Nights, but I wasn't. I mean, for me, it just felt like he was trying to do his thing, but yet in an English setting or an American setting. So it didn't quite work for me. But it's definitely worth a watch if you can find it on. It shows up on streaming services, now and again. So
okay, I'll check it out. Well, John Woo had a few of those. It's like, I guess it's a John Woo movie, but Ben Affleck is in it, so it's not really working.
Except for Face Off, he nailed that one.
Well, that was amazing. Yeah.
So, all right, good job, Chris. Good job. Guys. I love the background. I love the getting into the whole thing. It's beautiful.
The haircut.
Yeah, the haircut.
All right, here we go. Pick the next person. Off goes Chris.
Aha!
That's one for Sean. All right.
Aha!
I'm messing up the wheel. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, everybody, but we're all going to get a fair turn.
We're going to go with that one, though, right?
Yes, we're going with that one. So, Sean, you're up. No. Post-wedding movie.
So we're not going to do it Tuesday, though. You need some time to recuperate.
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Are you going on a honeymoon?
I am fine.
I'm sure you'll want to enjoy marital.
I am going to the Poconos in September.
Oh.
Poconos, nice.
Poconos, horn.
Gonna be like Dirty Dancing.
No, I'm going right. I go in Tuesday morning to work to finish my 9/11 show that I'm in the middle of now, which is killing.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, I'll be ready Tuesday night.
You'll be looking for something light.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Looking forward to it.
Everybody stay healthy.
We're gonna do that hot tub. Hot tub in the water.
Congratulations.
Hot tub.
See you soon.
Sounds good.